it's good. Okay, so seeing as this is the first episode, I'm just going to give a really brief introduction. This will be the only formal part of the episode, and then after this, we'll get into just chilling out. My name is Sean.
Okay.
I'm here with my friend Goat on a Stick, who I'm really happy has agreed to sit and do this with me. This is going to be a weekly.
I'm Peter.
This is going to be a weekly podcast. It's going to be gaming mostly, probably. We're also into tech. We're going to talk about tech updates, gaming update, gaming news. Probably go off topic a hell of a lot as well. So hardware, tech, gaming, other media, movies, TV shows. If we're into it at the time, we'll talk about it. Basically, the reason this has come about is because when I'm at work, I have my headphones in quite a lot, and my favorite things to listen to are people just hanging out, friend groups, like upwards 2 or 3 people just chatting for 3-4 hours, really long videos. I could listen to that shit all day, and I kind of want to see if I can do that as well with Goat on a Stick. We're going to try and do that for you as well. And also, if you want to get involved and talk to me and Goat, and maybe, you have a problem with something I said, or you want to get further detail on something I said, the link to the Discord is going to be in the description, so you can join, and I'll be in there, and you can speak to me. Okay, and having said that, that's it. I think we should just move into it. What do you say?
All right. Yeah, let's go.
So I think the best place to start is with the best thing to come out of, well, I guess technically 2025 so far, although it did release in December, and that's Marvel Rivals, because Marvel Rivals exploded onto the scene, literally, and we are now in February. Is it the 1st of February? We're in the 1st of February now, and that game has not lost momentum yet, so I know you've been playing it. I think you might have been playing it more than me. Have you been playing it, recently? Because I think I saw a short on your channel.
I've been playing it a lot.
Of you playing it, so...
Yeah, I love it. It's so good. It's just, a lot of stuff that I liked about Overwatch, the OG Overwatch, it feels like it has,
Yeah.
It's got good, unique characters. It's got fun gameplay. The maps are cool. And yeah, there's a bit of balance issues, but generally it's pretty fun. And each of the characters has a very unique play style that's kind of very easy to pick up. And yet there's a lot of nuance to how you use them that really adds a lot to the variety.
The balancing issues are also funny as fuck, because I see so many clips on YouTube and Twitter of Spider-Man launching 6 people off the map consecutively. Same with Jeff as well. So, it's it kind of has this fun factor that, like you said, OG Overwatch had in spades as well, just like a fun factor. It's not as cynical. It doesn't feel as cynical as the other games in the genre.
Yeah.
And like you said about there being unique characters, that's obviously helped by the fact that it's literally using the whole cast. Well, not yet, but it will be using the whole cast of Marvel characters, and they're all so fun. They have good voice acting, they have good animations, the designs are cool as fuck. Third-person camera helps that as well, because you feel like everyone's moving faster, you can see everything more clearly. It's definitely got that casual vibe to it, probably a little bit more than Overwatch.
Yeah, it's very casual friendly, I think, and that comes from how simple the characters feel with their abilities. You don't feel overwhelmed by how many they have, and yet it's good at explaining them too. Because a lot of times, what I really hate about games is when you're playing something and they explain an ability and it's either a terrible explanation or it feels like it has more depth and they're just not talking about it.
Yeah.
So I like how I feel like it gives me enough, and of course add in a training, which is always nice, because man, I hate when they have games like this and there's no training where you can just practice stuff and not feel like you're just wasting someone's time in the game because you're just figuring something out. I think more games should have that kind of practice, that especially with multiplayer. Single player I could see, but yeah, I think that's important to kind of get the grips of the character.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely put a lot of effort and attention into making sure that was all there on launch, which is really important, because on launch they had all these characters you could go into training. They have the training rooms with the dummies, and I think if I remember correctly in telling you that the game even tells you how to use the moves and the best scenarios to use abilities in training. It's really nice, and it helped me a lot as well.
Yeah,
because I like to play a variety of characters, and when it tells me this is how you would use this is why you would use this, go crazy. And I haven't played it anyway. I don't think I've played it as much as you, but I've had a lot of fun, mainly in unranked. I've played a few ranked games when it came out, because I had a 5-man or is it 6 players? I had a 5-man or a 6-man to play with me, and I played a little bit of ranked. But since then, I've mainly been playing casual by myself, which is crazy for me, because for a game like Overwatch, I would never, an Overwatch-like game, I would never dream of me. I never imagined that I would go on and play by myself, but Marvel Rivals has done that to me. I've been on Marvel Rivals by myself quite a lot of times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me too. And that says a lot because like a lot of what I play is dictated by what my friends play. You know,
Yeah.
like I'm way more inclined to play something if I see my friends playing it. And it's way more fun with my friends than if I'm just like, playing by myself. And that's probably why I don't play as much single player games as I used to, because it's just more fun with people.
Yeah.
And I found that I'm actually playing it, solo queuing and stuff because it's fun. It's great.
Don't get me wrong, it has made me really mad though.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, it tilts me. Yeah, yeah, because I think that's just part
Part of the
for the
yeah.
course for multiplayer. It's just you're gonna get mad.
Yeah.
People are gonna just not gonna.
And when a game makes you really mad, but you still press like continue playing, you know that's like that game has like kind of trapped you a little bit.
Right, right. It's a good kind of anger. Well, not good, but it's not that terrible kind of anger. But yeah, it could tilt you sometimes. But yeah, I mean just how much fun you have playing it makes it worth it. And really, you're just you're not angry at the game. You're just more likely just angry at how your teammates
Angry at your
chose to
teammates
make this thing.
is key,
Yeah,
because if you can
yeah,
get into the mindset of like I did okay that game, like if you're playing damage and you
yeah.
do like 8k
Mhm.
damage, then you can't
Yeah.
really feel mad like at your you can't really feel like, oh, I'm so shit and the other team destroyed me, because you know that your team probably just let you down if you were having a really good game anyway. So that's a mindset I like to get into when
Yeah.
I'm playing it, and as long as I have that mindset, I feel like I can play that game for a long time. And sometimes you do get matched with great teammates anyway, and then the game's even more fun.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, but yeah, even more fun with friends. It's a great,
Yeah, they came out.
great
They
game.
came out on fire with their live service as well, because I'm correct in saying they added 2 or 3 characters so far.
Let me see. They added
Invisible
Invisible
Woman,
Man. I mean, Invisible Woman.
Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic, Wolverine. They added, right?
Was he added, or was he? Because I think he was in the game when I started playing it. Well, when I played it by myself, he was in the game. I don't know. I don't remember if he was in the game at launch.
I played the beta, so and there's a few characters that weren't in the
Yeah, of
beta,
course, yeah.
so like I get kind of confused on which ones they added, but I think those were the ones. And then yeah, I think that was it.
I bought the battle
Yeah.
pass for that game, which I don't do very often as well.
Oh, nice.
Because I mean, that is another thing though, because it's free, so you don't feel as bad paying like £8, £8, $10 for a battle pass when the game is free.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my reasoning for when I buy stuff. I haven't yet because like I haven't seen any skins that kind of pop out at me or anything.
Yeah.
There's the one Scarlet Witch one in the new battle pass, but it's free if
I
you
haven't
unlock
looked
it.
at the new battle pass yet. Like, I haven't looked at the pages yet. I don't
Yeah.
know what's in it. Did
I just know that one's in
did
it.
the first battle
But,
pass expire, or is it permanent? Because some
I don't know.
games have started keeping them permanent, but I don't know if that game does that. I haven't looked. I haven't looked at the battle pass for a while.
I assume not. Man, I hate when they do that.
Shit.
That's so.
Yeah, shit.
It's like just taking content away from people. I mean, it feels like such a more of an incentive when you see like all these battle passes you can fill out
at your own pace.
I don't know why they do that. Yeah, unless they like, they take it away just so they can sell it on the store, which is super scummy. I can't think of a good reason for them to do that.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about Helldivers 2, because they have like, you go on Helldivers 2 and you go to the war bonds page and you just see like 10 war bonds,
and they got all of them. Yeah, it's great.
And you can even I
feel kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah, but usually you don't own them all, so you just work on the ones that you own. But if you're like a mega sweat like me, you can get those battle passes without spending a single penny.
Do they have like bundle stuff where you get like more than one at a time? You save money, or do you have to just buy them all? Or wait, you buy them with the currency,
you buy
right?
them
So
with
it
the
depends on
currency,
the
which
currency.
obviously you can just buy with real money. But you can also you can really slowly acquire that currency in game as well
through the game.
But,
yeah, I remember. Yeah, people found a farming method
That's
for
what I
it.
was doing. That's what I've been doing. Every time I see something that I want, I Google like I YouTubed a guy who showed the best farming method for every single currency in the game, including like samples
Yeah.
and the super
hmm
credits. So it's called super credits, the one that you use to buy
Yeah.
the battle passes with. And you can go into a map on like difficulty 1, which is called trivial, where there's like 0 enemies, and
Yeah.
you can just have the jetpack or the car and jetpack to all the points of interest, pick up all the super credits, and you can just return to ship in the pause menu. And I didn't know this until recently, but you keep super credits. If you do that, you don't lose them.
hmm
Yeah.
And then the level stays the same. The layout stays the same, right?
Yeah.
As long as you don't complete it.
Yeah, I was just laughing at the cat.
Okay.
Oh.
He's our mascot, I guess.
Yeah, I guess he is now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I love it when you can buy it with in-game, currency, and obviously it's not going to be as fast, but just the fact that you can,
Even if it's really hard,
it's good.
You can even if it is really hard, there's that guy out there on YouTube who made the fucking the farming guide like 10 years ago, so it's gonna be good. But
yeah,
and I get and in regards to that battle passes being like remaining permanent thing, unfortunately I have to give credit to that for Halo Infinite. Like one of the worst modern games ever was the first game to introduce the fact that you can keep the battle passes after they expire, and I am 95% certain that they only did that because the team responsible for the UI couldn't figure out how to remove the battle passes from the UI once it expired. I'm 95% confident in that because they had a bunch of UI related issues to the point where they just couldn't update the game anymore because the UI was full of technical debt, and the game was so fucked. The game was so fucked that every single thing they did was ridiculous. They didn't have an XP system in the game because, again, the UI team or whoever was initially responsible, the UI team was now in a position where they couldn't introduce XP leveling. So you had to just complete challenges and you'd get 10 headshots and you'd earn like 500 XP, and that's the only way you'd earn XP. If you dropped like a 40 bomb in a game, you'd get the same XP as everyone else who won on your team. Anyway, that's a crazy tangent. Maybe a Halo Infinite video one day, but that's a crazy tangent. That was an insane ride for the Halo community. Anyway, that was Marvel Rivals. We did talk about that. Should we get into the next topic?
All right.
I want to talk about these BioWare layoffs because that is like fresh news as of the time of recording this video. Like at maximum 24-hour-old news. Basically, I don't know if you knew this, but Dragon Age Veilguard, which was the most recent BioWare release, flopped really bad. Were you aware of that at all?
Yeah. Terrible numbers.
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal. Terrible. I think that BioWare said that they only reached 50% of the projected targets for the whole game, which is crazy. Because when the game first came out, people were glazing that game really fucking hard as well. Like people were saying it was really good, but I think that's just a honeymoon phase, and now the honeymoon phase is over. There's a lot of negativity surrounding that game. There's also a lot of people. There's a lot of prominent people online saying that wokeness killed it. I haven't played the game myself at all, but I can almost guarantee wokeness didn't kill it. I can almost guarantee it's just a boring fucking game. I can almost guarantee that.
And that's why Concord died.
This happens,
and they said the same thing. Yeah. Concord crashed and burned, and what the developers, it was the anti-woke people. It's like, no, you put out a shitty game. You made them pay too much for it in an economy where all these live service games are free or even cheap. Like, God. And your style was terrible. The gameplay was like, even saying it's mid is a stretch.
Concord almost deserves a video of its own, because Concord you could make documentaries after documentaries about Concord for years and years.
Yeah, I love watching YouTube videos on like terrible movies that I've never seen. Yeah. So like I would watch the documentary on Concord,
so you're like getting a hate boner basically, because I get hate boners all the time, and it's bad.
I guess
it's bad,
but,
because
I just like hearing the valid criticism. Like I don't understand. Hey, you too.
Yeah, it's kind of bad though because that kind of fuels into the whole like negativity is extremely popular on YouTube. So once you get to a certain extent, I
Yeah.
kind of don't like that. But it's also it's a guilty pleasure. I think it's a lot of people's guilty pleasure. It's really funny watching
Hmm.
those downfall videos. The downfall videos are extremely fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't even know who the hell they are, and I'll watch the videos. And, no, no,
Yeah, it
it's
was
terrible.
initial. It
Who
was
is that?
initially like one channel. I think the channel was Sunny V2 who started like the downfall
Yeah.
trend, but now they're an extremely popular format of videos. And basically, it could be you. It could happen to anyone. Like you could have a fart on camera by accident, and you'd have a downfall video out in 24 hours time about you.
Mm,
Like it's kind of crazy. But anyway, that's
yeah.
very off topic. So Dragon Age Veilguard, apparently with these layoffs, BioWare have reportedly fired the whole writing team for Dragon Age Veilguard because apparently the story was just
Hmm.
uninspired and dull, which is just I haven't touched the game, but I can just imagine exactly what it's like just based off that
If
sentence.
it's anything, yeah, if it's anything from the clips I've
Yeah.
seen, it is atrocious.
Yeah, you just know
Yeah.
when you see it. It just looks like slop. You know, like I can see slop from a mile away now. I feel like with
Yeah. Oh
with these
yeah.
big modern games, and that has slop written all
Hmm.
over it. Dragon Age Veilguard has slop written all over it. And
Yeah.
then and also reportedly they've just BioWare a full sending Mass Effect 5 now. Mass Effect 5 being the working title. They've confirmed that it won't be called Mass Effect 5. It'll be like it'll just be a named sequel or prequel.
Yeah.
Um
Hmm.
which is exciting and terrifying because I'm midway through playing the whole trilogy for the first time, 20 years late to the party.
Oh, it's a great trilogy,
I'm
man.
absolutely loving
That's
it so far.
such a classic.
Yeah.
Like the voice actors, the gameplay, the
The attention to
characters,
detail. The attention to detail has stood out to me
yeah.
so much in terms of all of the interactions you can have and how much time they must have put into making sure that everything flowed. It's crazy.
Yeah. The combat system isn't that deep,
It's fun though.
but because everything else is so good, it makes it fun.
Combat is extremely fun. Even in I'm
Like,
playing on the legendary edition. I don't know if it's different.
yeah.
I actually have no idea. I never
Mhm.
looked into it, but the combat is very simple to the point where it's probably timeless. You know, if you want to be a sniper, you just run
Right.
around headshotting people, and you can
Exactly.
get upgrades
Yeah.
to make your sniper do more damage. That's it. Boom, done. Kind of
Mhm.
crazy though, because in that game, I look forward to speaking to NPCs as much as I look forward to sniping people in the head, which is
Yeah, they actually make character interactions fun, and it's great. And people will meme about how your decisions have no impact and blah blah. But like just seeing the different dialogue trees, it's great. I love going through, playing Renegade and just seeing
yeah.
my character be a complete ass to
Yeah.
everyone. It's funny, but yeah, just that you have, because in so many games you just talk and you do yours. It's nice to be able to choose what you say and hear something
And
different in
have it have
response. And
significant
it's
ramifications.
yeah, yeah, and it's not just a different block of text or something. That's really
Yeah.
cool. And they have the different trees where like if you go up the Paragon or Renegade.
Well, I haven't looked into that at
There's
all.
different.
I'm going in blind, and I've been very much Paragon so far in my first playthrough
Okay.
because I'm I'm trying to do it for fun. I'm trying to do it like as grounded as I could. Like what would this person actually do? Assuming they were a nice person anyway. That's kind of how I've been going about
Mhm.
my first playthrough, and I am so.
I forget what it is. Yeah, I think it unlocks additional dialogue options if you're like enough into one or the
Does.
other. Like you wouldn't have this Renegade option if you weren't so much into Renegade.
That is.
I think that's
that
what
is
it
to an
does.
extent how it works. Yeah, that's what. As far as I
But
know.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's great. Which one are you on?
I'm on 2, and I think I'm quite far in because I think I've played the second game for like probably 7 or 8 hours now.
Mhm.
Basically, I've been recruiting a team to go on a big suicide mission, which I'm sure will be exciting.
Mhm.
But I'm so invested. I never imagined that I would get so invested in it. I kind of played it as a sort of like, I kind of want like a chill game to play. This game's free because it's free on PlayStation. At least I think maybe with EA Play. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's in
Yeah.
one way or another, it's free on PlayStation. So I downloaded it, and I was just sucked in after a few hours because it's really easy to grasp in terms of like, okay, this is how the game works. You go on missions, you
Mhm.
speak to these people, and then they change the way they feel about things, and they all have their own. Every NPC has their own bias and their own, their own opinions on everything, and they're very consistent. and they're all very different, and they're all incredibly detailed to the point where it's just extremely interesting to. Every time I finish a mission, I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to do a lap of the ship and speak to every fucking NPC, which is a crazy thing for me to think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild they can do that, but that's just how shows how well they do with the world building
Yeah.
and getting you invested in and feeling like you're in the game, you know, and actually wanting to explore because so many games, it feels pointless to explore the city or something when I'm just going to talk to an NPC that's going to say the same
Yeah.
thing every time I talk to
Yeah.
them, or it just has no impact on the story, and I just know they're just some stupid little block of text
Yeah.
waiting to pop up on my screen. But they all have a voice, and so many of them have different options, and you want to see all the different options. It's great. They really put a lot of love
It's
into it,
really
and you
cool.
can tell.
I
Yeah,
really enjoy
it's great.
trying to keep everyone happy, at least to a reasonable degree, because there are some people like I
Mhm.
think their biggest red flag in the first game is actually being a fucking racist, and I snuffed that out straight away. That's one of the things that happens that I think is like an obvious thing you have to deal with. So you can't keep everyone happy because you're going to run into paths sometimes where I mean the game literally makes you decide between people sometimes, so you can't keep everyone happy. But I tried to
I
pitch.
think that's what's also great about the game. There's a lot of non what do I want to say, not non black and white
Morally grey.
uh decisions. Yeah,
Morally grey.
like they'll ask you, do you want to do this, do you want to, and like they both seem kind of right,
Yeah.
and yet they both seem kind of wrong, and it's great to make those decisions. Uh there's a great example I want to tell you, but I think it's coming up to you, but
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
want to
don't risk
spoil it.
it.
But it's one of those ones.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you're like, oh, there is no right
Yeah.
answer. It's just whatever I think. So they'll give you they give you those, and it really makes you think. Because so many times, do you want to kill him or let him live? It's like, oh, I'm nice, I want to let him live. But it's like,
What if it has this ramification or that ramification? There's a lot of that.
um, yeah, and did you got past the Krogan part? We're on the Krogan home planet.
No, I'm doing that next. So it's a good job. It's a good job
Okay,
you asked.
okay,
I have that
okay.
mission where I need to go to a. I awoke a Krogan from like a cryopod, and he's like having to go to the home planet.
Mhm,
That's where I'm at right now. So
mhm.
yeah,
Okay, okay. That's one of those when you get on
yeah, I
those
can
planet, you make
imagine.
one of those decisions, and you're like, "Oh
With the
man, dude,
xenophage or
what
what
do
is
I
it called? The
do?"
xenophage.
Yeah,
Xenophage is just a fucking
yeah.
nightmare because it's just causes so many morally grey issues. Anyway, yeah, I'll report back on Mass Effect, I guess, next time because I feel like I'm good. But at this rate, I'm
Mm,
gonna finish the whole series in the next 2 days because I played that game for like 6 fucking hours today. I'm not even exaggerating. I sat down and I was like, "Oh, I'll play it for a few hours," and I looked at the clock and
yeah,
like
it's
6 or 7 hours
great.
had gone
It's
past.
good, classic, video game
Yeah,
goodness. I highly
I like
recommend
doing
it.
everyone's side quest because especially in Mass Effect 2,
Mhm.
everyone has their own side quest, and that's great. Because someone
Oh
comes to
yeah.
me and they're like, "Oh, I have this problem. I ran into this guy 5 years
Mhm.
ago. He kidnapped my sister." And I'm like, let's go right now.
All right, let's go
Let's go
fix
right
it.
now.
All right.
It could
I mean,
be,
we got to save the
yeah.
world, but let's fix out your fatherhood issues
No,
right now.
literally, no exaggeration. You have to fucking save
Yeah.
Jacob's dad at one point, and then he turns out to be a
Right.
fucking
Yep.
prick.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about.
it's
Yep.
great. I
Yeah,
love
it's,
it.
it's
It's
funny,
fantastic.
but it's cool that they add it, and they all have their own little special missions.
Yes,
So
which is why I'm extremely worried about Mass Effect 5. Mass Effect 5 is,
yeah,
I mean, Mass Effect
just the
Andromeda
way.
was apparently a huge flop. It was
Yeah,
a long time ago, though.
yeah, and then Dragon Age, which is a very beloved series. I never played it, but I've only heard good things about it. And for them to just fumble such such a great series. I don't have, and like you said about Andromeda, like the people that made the Mass Effect games that we love are probably not working there anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of Mass Effect game
Will it
will
be?
now BioWare make?
Yeah.
And it's, I'm kind of iffy. I mean, I have hope. Maybe it'll be a surprise.
I do have hope
Success.
because you can see from the fact that they are making these drastic changes from Dragon Age Veilguard. At least they're showing that they want change, which means that
Yeah.
it's going to be something that it's probably going to be just a whole new bunch of people. Mass Effect 5, they'll hopefully just take the right inspiration, learn the right lessons, and Mass Effect 5 could be great. Who knows?
Yeah,
Who
we'll
knows? We'll
see.
see.
We'll see. Fingers
Fingers
crossed, though.
crossed.
Hmm.
Next topic. It's probably a short one, but I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 looks fucking cool, and I might buy it. I don't know how much it costs on PS5. I hope it's not full price because it doesn't look like a full price game. But I'll probably end up buying that shit because that looks cool as fuck. Because I have a lot of vested interest in cool medieval stuff, and that game is cool
Yeah.
medieval stuff in one complete package from the looks of it. Anyway.
Yeah, from what I hear, it's very authentic as far as getting you to do all the nitty gritty
Yeah.
parts of medieval life, like the getting the ingredients for all the cooking stuff you need, and you have to, and like combat is apparently very extremely difficult
Yeah.
to do. So you can't just run around killing everyone. You really have to pick your fights and master the style.
Yeah. It looks
And
cool.
I heard you can just die early in the game just from random
Really?
stuff. Yeah, I saw some guy who was playing and he clicked start game and like he immediately died because his character fell into a lake or something.
That's how it was back then, though. That's how it was.
Oh yeah, mortality was crazy. It feels almost like a meme with how quickly you can die in that game, but it's great that it's almost kind of teaching you things were really bad back then.
Yeah.
Like the struggle was life itself,
Yeah, the game probably doesn't
so
even do it
that is really
justice.
interesting. And I bet if you like medieval stuff and if you know a lot about it, I'm sure you'd get a lot from it because they're probably really really accurate with that stuff.
It looks like it.
Um,
The first game, I know
mhm.
one of my friends was really into the first game, but I took one look at it and just thought it looked jank as fuck. The first game, in my opinion, looked jank as fuck. It looked kind of buggy. It looked very indie. The second game definitely has a lot less of that. And it's had a full console release as well, so I'm quite hopeful that it's not like that.
Mhm.
And I watched a Digital Foundry, the channel. I'm thinking of Digital Foundry seem to
Oh yeah.
have good things to say about it as well. So I
Oh
might
cool.
genuinely buy that game because it looks cool as hell.
Yeah. Let me
I
know.
will.
Let me know how it
I'll
goes.
report back about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Exciting stuff. Next
Mhm.
topic is a big one for me because it's really shocking and embarrassing, but it's really funny as well. It's kind of old news, but it's come to like it's kind of come to a climax recently because the consequences have come to the forefront, and that's to do with Activision and more specifically Call of Duty beginning to rely on artificial intelligence to produce a lot of their workflow. Um,
Mhm.
so the first kind of I think this was the first glimpse of it was basically that they began to use AI images for the like bundle art. Like so you'd go in the store and you'd look at all the bundles and they'd have a
Mm.
picture. People
Yeah.
started noticing
Yeah.
really quickly that a lot of those were AI. Um I don't know how this works, but I've seen that you can now like put images into an AI detector and they'll tell you like this image was made by an AI or whatever. But yeah, but it's not even that because some of the pictures have like the first one that blew up and was really viral was a Santa Claus zombie with
Mhm.
6 fingers.
Yeah.
Like it had a
Mhm.
thumb here and then it had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was really funny because it's like
I saw
you did.
that, and yeah, and I have a pretty good eye for seeing AI art, and I remember looking at it and I just couldn't see any of the tells of AI. And they're like, well, it's got six
It's got
fingers.
6 fingers.
And and that was the only thing I looked hard at that because I'm the kind of person who I'll be browsing the web and there'll be some advertisement and a little freaking thumbnail. I'll scroll past an advertisement like, wait,
AI.
like and like was that AI? And I don't even know what tells me. Like something about the color, the contrast, something just flickers in my head. Like that's got to be an AI image,
Yeah.
And the more I look into it, the more you can tell. There's little tiny the way that lines kind of disappear into each other or
Mm.
merge or the patterns in hair and stuff or how symmetry and circles or the eyes stuff like that, which is crazy that you have to look that hard for that stuff
That
nowadays,
is crazy.
but it's there if you look. And I looked at that image and I just didn't see anything, and then I'm like, okay, so what's with the finger? And I was looking at the finger. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's 6 of them. I'm like, wait a second. And I was looking at it, and like it looked like the sixth finger was the skin falling off the
Wait,
pinky finger.
really?
Yeah, yeah. You'll have to pull that up
I'll have to
later and
pull it
look
up
at
later and
it.
look at it, because if you're correct on that, that's kind of crazy, because you are right, because the image looks, if it is AI, it looks really good. But in my eyes, there's two possibilities for that. Either like you said, it's not AI and it's supposed to be skin falling off the finger, or they're using some
Hmm.
kind of unseen Activision specific new AI image generator, which I wouldn't put past them as well, because they have the money to kind of do that stuff.
Yeah, it's it's a Santa one, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Let me see if I can put it on my screen, just so I can show
yeah.
you. Um, see if I can figure it on Discord. Let me see.
I'm interested to see.
Mm-hmm. Here we
But
go.
even if you trump that example, I have another example ready to go.
All right, can you pull that up?
I will do my best. I see. I see. So what are you trying to say?
I okay. So look at the fingers.
Yes.
Green,
Green.
green, green, just like the flesh on the
So,
pad. And then this one's red.
so you think that
It
fifth digit is
so
skin?
it could be the skin going off. Um, but
I
I
can't. I
mean,
see what you're saying, but I feel like,
and like there is some kind of like around here. This pattern looks kind of odd. Like I feel like they could have easily added some digital noise to help hide some of this stuff, because AI is getting so good. But there's a lot of this detail that I feel like AI wouldn't like the textures on the face could go either way,
I do know what you mean.
because it feels I could see it being assisted, but like this image as a whole, I'm not sure. Did they admit to
Well,
it?
they didn't admit to it, but what I'm thinking is, if it's not, do you not think the artist who drew it would come out and be like, "Bitch, this is mine"?
I don't know anymore, man. It's crazy, because like if he did use AI to help him assist, but it wasn't completely AI rendered, like it'd be, in the eyes of the community, it'd be just as bad as saying it was
Yeah.
completely um, AI. So yeah, it's crazy too that you could. I've seen people like praise an image, and then when they find out it's AI, it's like, oh god, it's terrible. And like their opinion flips
Yeah.
on a dime when they find out it's made by AI. And it's something that's going to start happening more, that it's and I think it's acceptable that some people can use it to help them make stuff, but like when they just completely generate crap with it and pass it off, like what you're talking about with the pass,
Yeah.
the battle pass
Yeah.
artwork, and it just looks like terrible. Like that's so lazy. That's so cheap. You don't do that in a AAA
The
game.
way the way I
Like,
think about
uh,
it is, if it's in like a product and you don't
hmm
disclose that it's involving AI art, that's obviously incredibly scummy, because the original assumption is that someone has drawn the art. So if you aren't disclosing that it isn't drawn by a human, then that's kind of pathetic, especially if the consumer paid money for the product. I think
hmm
even if you do disclose it, you can. It's kind of grey. This is definitely a perspective that's going to change in the future, because this is going to start happening a lot, which is another consequence of Activision doing this, because as they always are, they're always at the forefront of the newest thing that a gaming company can do to save money. Activision are usually there. Um, so I could see them doubling down on this. I think they'll double down on this significantly in the future, if it is, as prominent as people think it is.
See, I think it's fine when you're by yourself, you're an indie developer, you just don't have the money
Yeah.
to afford to pay 3D artists, 2D artists, like you just want to make a game and get the game out,
Yeah.
like and because there really is a lot of money in when you have to render 3D assets and you have to light them perfectly, not perfect. Well, you have to add the lighting and you have to code all the models and everything, and it's a lot of work, just having one, like, such a small staff. So I could see it helping a lot
Of
of
course, yeah.
um, indie, and like there's some amazing stuff out there. Like you can take an image, a 2D image, run it through some AI program, and now you have a full 3D model out of
Yeah.
it. Like you're not just going to dump that in the game. You're obviously going to edit that, but just having a base just that saves so much time. So there's a lot of time saves you can use AI for that aren't like cheapening your game.
Yes.
Like you can use the image generators to kind of like just build base. Like I need a brick texture,
Mhm.
but I don't want to buy a brick texture for $70 or
That's where it's
how
gonna
much.
be. It's gonna be difficult moving
Yeah.
into the future, especially the next few years, because, like you said, there are,
Mhm.
depending on who you are, the bar where acceptable AI usage is might change or bend.
Mm. It's definitely gonna
Yeah.
change because like I said, and I think it's the indie scene is gonna really push that because they're just gonna see how much more easier it is to get things that bigger companies do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when digital cameras came out. You used to, if you wanted to film something to a very nice degree, you had to get like an expensive digital camera or something, and you had to have like and you had to have like all this software for editing and stuff. And like now you got a camera in your pocket, with your phone, which is actually a pretty good video camera
Definitely
considering,
better than the
blows away
better than my
blows away anything in the
720p
early 2000s.
720p webcam. Yeah,
Yeah,
better than that.
yeah, yeah. You're lucky if you had 720p back
Yeah.
then, but now you have like 4K cameras, like 60 FPS, and editing software. There's a bunch of open source stuff
Mhm.
that's so amazing that professionals use it, like DaVinci, um, DaVinci
Yeah.
Resolve,
Heard of it.
stuff like
Mhm.
that. I mean, so many suites of software that gives just regular users you know a, a, a chance to work like professionals. So I think AI assets is going to go in the same way. They're going to give a lot of the little guy a lot of the tools to help him, make stuff. And obviously, seeing the big companies do it is still going to anger people, as it should, because when you've got such a huge budget and when you have so much people on staff, and yet you're refraining from using their skills instead of just rendering the
Mhm.
stuff that and especially if you can tell, because like that's the worst, because like when you use it to like just to fill in parts, or just to um like to draft.
Yeah.
I think that's like just like you pose something and you say what would it look like if it was like oh okay, and then you can kind of start from the beginning, but just to take a raw render and be like that's it. you
Yeah.
know
Look, I mean,
I put in a prompt, I clicked render, and that's the
the
asset.
thing
Not going to
is,
change
you
it.
really don't have to push this logic far for it to just become extremely difficult to have a lot to like to draw the line. Because let's say, for example,
Hmm.
you do what you just said, and someone you use an AI to create like a draft. Then what if you were to
Hmm.
like? What if you were to like? But then if an artist was to stencil over the draft that was made by the AI,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
would you stand on that morally?
Yep. I mean, it's honestly, it's probably already happening.
Oh,
I'm willing to bet. I'm willing
that's
to
an
bet
easy
that there's
application of AI. So yeah,
yes, yeah, exactly, and it's a really easy one to, and it's really hard to
yeah,
prove
you never would.
because the more you put work into it,
You're under
uh,
attack.
the more the more you put work into it, the more obviously it becomes your work. And I have a strong feeling that a lot more artists than are willing to admit are already using it in subtle ways, but they're just not admitting it because
Extremely
there's
controversial.
just such a backlash from even admitting there was any step in the
Yeah.
process. Like if you tell them, I wrote this whole book myself, they'll be like, that's incredible. But if you say, well, I didn't have an editor, so I put some, passages through Chat GPT to help. Oh, so you used AI to write your book? It's like, no, like it's just it's either one or none for them.
Did you use
So
that
I feel
example
like a lot.
deliberately, or is that an example that you came up with on top of your head? Because I saw that on BBC News yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
was that a coincidence?
No,
So yeah,
I just whipped that up. What
there
happened?
was a book that came out, and it turned out that it was written entirely by AI. I didn't listen to
Entirely by AI,
entirely
really?
by AI.
Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't. But
Wow.
some people couldn't tell. That's what I think. I think that's
Mm.
why it was on the news. But I didn't listen to any of the actual information. I thought that might be a big story that you were referring to. But I guess this is going to start popping up all over the place now, and there's
I mean, yeah, that's happened before. Like I think there was a race to get the first book fully written by
yeah,
AI, and so like a bunch of people were just dumping stuff
yeah.
out. And you can tell it lacks consistency. It can't remember events that happen and stuff. Like it's just terrible for that kind of stuff. But it's good for like editing, just simple editing and stuff. Obviously, you got to double check it
Mhm.
and whatnot. But I mean, the thing is, it's just going to keep getting better. Um, a lot of people are like thinking AI, you know, will never be able to do this. Well, it'll never be able to do that. But like, I would have never thought AI would be able to make
I would
images,
have never have thought
and
AI would
here
be
we
able
are.
to make
I will.
somewhat convincing videos, but as of the last few months, they're
Yeah,
incredibly
yeah,
convincing.
exactly. And now it's making video, and like people are like, well, we'll never make a video that's like just wait, man. Like the more they train, the crazier it's going to get really hard. Like images, like I don't know if you've been keeping up with it, but some of these images are really really hard to tell that they're AI.
Yeah.
Like
Images
they're
I
getting.
think have reached the point of being indiscernible. I think it might be
Mm,
rare, but we have reached that technological advancement now. I think AI images are um indiscernible from some regular images, and recently I've started seeing just like on my feeds just some videos that are downright convincing. Like it's kind of rare, but just incredibly convincing. Whether it's a fake speech from
hmm
Mr. Trump, or if it's a I saw a video of Queso running into Waffle House, and I thought it was real for a second, and
yeah.
I took a double take, and I was like, oh my god, it's AI.
hmm I think we're in the DALI 2 period of
Yeah,
video. I don't know if you know what I'm referring
Dolly,
to with
the
the.
original AI picture model, right?
Yeah. When DALI 2 came out, like they were really blurry and
Yeah,
smeary and ugly,
mhm.
and like it was just a meme. You'd put like Batman on a trail cam or something,
Yeah.
and
They were
it
just for
looked kind of
jokes.
close enough to it,
Yeah,
and you'd point and laugh. But like now, like they're actually you could actually render what looks like someone in a Batman cosplay from the view of a trail cam and like HD, and it's nuts what it can make. And I think video is in that same stage where it's kind of people are memeing on it. They're just making stuff like, what if Chef Ramsay, blah blah, and they're just or Will Smith eating pasta for the 10,000th time, like just making silly stuff with it. But even then, like there's a thing where like they show the Will Smith eating spaghetti, the original
yeah,
video, and then like the later versions where like the model's
the
advanced and it
improvement.
looks more
Yeah,
realistic and not like he's putting the pasta through his cheeks
yeah,
and stuff. But it's gonna get crazy. I remember years ago telling my friends, like eventually we're gonna get to a place where like you can tell the computer the kind of story you want to hear, and it'll be able to make that for you,
yes,
like about your favorite characters or your favorite
yes.
series, and then boom, it can make an episode, your own spin-off series or episodes. Like I feel like that's
I
going to be
mean,
entertainment at some point.
ChatGPT is borderline capable of that now, is it not?
Yeah, I mean that's what it's doing. People are like, write me a fanfic or
Yeah,
something, and it's
I've seen it
terrible
used
with.
in that way, and that's why I
Yeah,
mentioned it.
yeah. Well, yeah. Another crazy thing is like people are just using it as a therapist or just someone to talk to. Like you're just having conversations with it that they wouldn't have with
I
anyone
respect
else.
it.
And and they feel it's great because they're not talking to someone who's judging them. It's just a system, like a non-living thing. So they feel like they can be completely, you know, truthful to stuff. And like they're like, this is better than a therapist, man. I can tell it anything, and it's just completely unbiased, and it's kind of weird. And but I think it says more about us than AI. And I think that's the thing in general is is it's how it's used is is what's most important, because people will hate on just the word AI, but I mean, it's the tool, I mean, it's just a
It's
tool.
just a
Like
tool.
when a company replaces employees with AI, like they get mad at the AI. Then like, no, be mad at the
About at the
company. Like
company.
it was the company who decided to do that, Like so I think a lot of people are misdirecting their anger when really they should be, focused more on, you know,
Why, like,
you're not
what,
going to accept that the company does
try
this,
and think about why is this being used? What does the person using it intend to gain? And that's where things can become sinister. I think that AI is a creation, like you said, it's a tool, and tools are to
Mhm.
be used for wherever purpose
Yeah,
they
yeah,
work the
like
best.
the cast that left
Hmm.
Activision because of lack of AI protections.
Yeah,
It was Activision just being an
yeah,
ass. Being like, oh, we want you to be able to do your AI voice, and they know that it's because you don't want us to record, you want the AI to
yeah.
record, and the AI doesn't care what it's getting paid
Yeah,
for.
because think about the
So it,
flexibility of that. Imagine if they want to make, because just imagine this for the future of live service. Because the thing about live service is that live service demands bringing people back to do stuff over and over and over again. And if you don't need the
yeah.
people to do that, then live service you can have voice lines ready on a day-to-day basis. Daily basis, you can have
Hmm.
voice lines ready to roll out, and you don't have to fly anyone out, you don't have to pay for people, you don't have to make any of those arrangements. On a day-to-day basis. That's probably
Hmm.
being generous anyway. On like an hour-to-hour basis, you can have dialogue for live service purposes. Not just dialogue, anything,
Yeah.
anything that you want. AI can be used for
Yeah.
any of that stuff. It's a game
Yeah, they
changer.
see it as a big win because like they can make the content and they don't have to pay people for it, and that's and the thing is, like I said, I feel like as much pushback as there is now, as much outrage as we generate, first of all, like people are getting mad, but they're not doing anything
Hmm.
about it. Like make if you're mad about it, go be vocal, make regulations. Like boycott these companies. Like, but you're not. You're still buying their
Yeah,
products. You're not pushing for any kind of legislation.
yeah,
And so, like, if you're not doing anything about it, then you know what? It's just gonna keep going on, and eventually, we're gonna get to a point where um, people are not going to be able to tell it's AI anymore. You
yeah.
know, and you're not going to be able to be as easily outraged because you see another finger that wasn't there or something. You're just gonna you're just gonna
You're
accept
gonna
it,
accept it
and
because that's what happens to all of these things. This is a cycle,
hmm
especially for these AAA companies. It's a
yeah,
cycle that repeats over and over again. A
hmm
thing gets introduced, people complain. The complaining doesn't help, so people just keep quiet, and
hmm
we keep quiet, and we accept it, and we eat it
it's
all up.
yeah,
We just eat it up. This is a
yeah,
cycle that's repeating on us.
it's the overpaid or overpriced DLC
Yeah,
thing all over again. Like the reason that they charge so much, and that they keep it is because people buy it.
every time,
You know,
every time. Yeah,
if you're mad, if you don't want it, don't buy it. But people buy it, and it works, and so it's there. When they have these games that are free to play, but they have these in-game monetization that's really scummy. You
yeah.
know, people should be up in arms about that. They should really make their voices heard, but they just let it go. Companies make money off them, and money talks. So it's just going to keep going that way. You got no one to blame for yourself if you're the one who's
Absolutely,
accepting this system.
absolutely. On the topic
Hmm.
of AI, can you please tell me about this Steam AI? Because you mentioned it before, and I'm not quite sure what this
Oh, it's
entails.
it, it was it was it's the powered by
Powered by
Steam.
Steam.
It's not AI related.
Oh, mhm.
So I guess you got it confused with the NVIDIA
I
AI
did. I definitely
PC.
did. Yeah.
Um, but so you know about the Steam Deck?
I have a Steam Deck.
You
I
have a
have a
Steam
Steam Deck.
Deck.
I love it.
Okay, that's powered by Steam OS.
Yes.
So Steam made the OS. It's based off the Linux
It's based off
kernel.
Linux. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. That's gigantic actually, because for so long of the PC games existence, Linux has been like really in the back line.
Absolutely.
Kind of like with Mac.
I've only ever heard of it as the butt
Like
of a joke. Yeah.
really, and it kind of is. I mean, I've heard so many good things about how customizable and how resilient and secure Linux is. But if I can't play games on it, I'm sorry, dude. I'm not going to use it.
So
So,
Steam.
so
So
what
Steam is a
Steam
game
did,
changer for this. Is that where? Is that where this is going?
yeah. So what Steam did is they saw that and they noticed, and first they started making a push on their marketplace for games to have Linux support. And then and behind the scenes, they were working on their own Steam OS based on Linux, so that they could release the Steam Deck with their own OS on it, that was created to run games.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's giant that they got a working, version of or not a working version, but like a version of Mm. Well, just that their compatibility with games on
Mm-hmm.
Linux has gotten to a point that they could release a console that works with so many titles in their library for it, and it runs off the Steam OS, and which they put the sticker on it, powered by Steam OS. And so the big news is that now they're licensing that out. Now you can use the Steam OS in your products, and so who is it, Lenovo or something? And so someone just came out with a portable game system that runs the Steam OS. So now this is
Really?
going to be a big thing that we're going to have portable systems running the Steam OS that runs on Linux, already supports a huge library of
Yeah.
games, and like people are talking about how big this could be. Could a future PC with Steam OS be possible? I mean,
It seems that
because
way.
we've been shoehorned into Windows for so long just
We have.
because
I've
it's
never
all that
even. I've
works.
never even let the thought of another OS slip into my brain before.
Right. And now suddenly it's a possibility. Could Steam be onto something here?
So
Linux was such a neglected community for so long in the PC games, and now they've single-handedly, well, not single-handedly, but they've put quite a big effort into making sure that it was viable. And it is. People are running all these games on it. They're modding it. They're making all these, the community for it is great. And
what you're saying
and it was
is
just on one
this is
device.
this is the revenge of Linux.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Return of the
Return of the
Linux.
Linux.
Yeah. So this is pretty huge for Steam, huge for Linux, and great for gamers because now Windows has some competition when it comes to gaming.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to up there. So
Especially with
it's
if you think
great.
about these with everyone getting into like with PC obviously just being huge right now with pre-built PCs
Hmm.
just selling like hotcakes, could like the market of pre-built PCs with the Steam OS on them would actually make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense
Yeah.
for new consumer people
Hmm.
getting into PCs. That sounds good.
Oh yeah.
That sounds
Yeah. It's
ideal actually.
great. And
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was a brilliant move by them.
Yeah.
So and now that they're licensing out, it's not just them who have it. Any company can start using it. So I feel like it's just going to get more proliferate. There's going to be more pressure to have your games be compatible with Linux,
Hmm.
so it can run on this other OS.
Yeah.
And it's going to be huge for the Linux community as far as just how much gaming can bring to their user base. Um, and like I said, competition for Microsoft would be
Would be
great
great
because
because they might make some
yeah,
changes.
because even now, Mac and gaming, it's kind of a meme because just and it's kind of always been, but this could actually push them to you know
Certainly.
to do
Yeah.
something more.
Well, my first PC gaming experience was on a Mac. I
Oh
was
wow,
I was
nice.
10.
What
I was
game?
10 and I played Minecraft on
Minecraft. Wow.
my dad's Apple laptop, and I think it probably ran at
Mm.
about 10 FPS, but I didn't know what FPS was back then,
Nice.
so I had a fantastic time. And I used to put the HDMI cable into the TV and probably get less FPS.
Oh wow.
And I figured out how to
Nice.
open the mods folder and put files inside, and I thought I was like an anonymous hacker.
Yeah, I probably felt
That
that
was
way,
my
huh?
first PC experience. Okay.
Oh man, mine was good. It was probably a 286 or something old like that. It was some floppy disk called PC Racers or something. There's some comic. There was some comic in the papers like BC or something back then about some cavemen, and it was some spin-off game on it where like he was riding on a wheel and you jumped over holes or something like that. That was the earliest memory I
About
had
cavemen.
of that. Yeah, but like I remember getting in on Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like incredible. And Ultima Underworld, like, just blew my mind that you could have 3D worlds on on a system that you can interact with and stuff. Because everything was just like pixels and 2D
No
and
Doom on
stuff.
PC back in the day.
Oh yeah, Doom. Doom was, yeah. I got into Doom too. One of the first games I played online was Doom through my modem.
Which
You know,
Doom?
you'd call someone in
Which
California.
Doom was the online one?
Oh, the original
Really?
had online. Oh yeah, man. When it first came out,
It's news to me.
a lot of colleges were complaining because it was taking up a lot of the network traffic on their local networks.
Doom
But
multiplayer. Interesting.
Doom multiplayer, yeah. And at one point, I had a laptop set up on like a little a little portable stand, and then me and my brother played across a serial connection,
Yeah.
and we'd play like co-op and stuff. Like, and I played against people in California and racked up my phone bill unknowingly. My dad wasn't too happy about that, but then later you could connect through the internet instead of through dial-up, and you know, do death matches and
Yeah.
stuff. And yeah, that was great, man. Um, some of my first multiplayer experience was like Doom and Heretic
Heretic?
and
What is
Descent.
Heretic?
Heretic was a game made by id Software that was kind of
Oh.
like kind of more medieval
Oh,
themed.
interesting. I've never heard of it.
It was, yeah. It wasn't as popular as Doom,
No.
but yeah, it was one of the first ones, and it was kind of
Yeah,
wacky.
my
I
first
remember you could
sorry, go on.
there's an ability I remember you could turn your opponent into a chicken. But go on.
So I think the first multiplayer game I played was Unreal Tournament. I want to say 4, Unreal Tournament 4,
Mm.
and it was on my dad's TV, and he had like a very rudimentary Bluetooth controller, and I played on that. And I think that game had online capability.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I played that online.
Yeah, Unreal series. I remember the first Unreal had online, but it wasn't very fun. Then Unreal Tournament came
Yeah.
out, and that was
It's a crazy
crazy.
game.
Man,
Do they
one of
still
my
release those?
no, it's been dead for a while. I think the last one was like '07 or
Oh,
something.
really? Wow.
So it's been a while. And then I just recently read they were thinking of a new one, but they canceled it.
I can see why.
Um,
I don't think the arcade shooter genre
yeah.
is a good
The whole
idea.
arena shooter
Sorry,
thing
arena
isn't
shooter.
as
Yeah.
isn't as popular as it used to be,
They
and
are.
yeah, it's kind of dated, and I could see that. But man, that's terrible because that was a really classic series. That and Quake, and man,
Yeah.
yeah, good
Well,
times.
on the topic of Doom, what a really nice, convenient segue, because Doom, the Dark Ages, has been in the media a lot lately. I think they had a gameplay preview that I watched, and it looks excellent. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of classic Doom anyway, but I'm more of a huge fan of Doom since 2016. I think I like those games more than the classics, which is probably extremely offensive to a lot of people, but I really like those games. I think Doom Eternal is my favorite single player FPS game ever made. I love it a lot.
It's understandable. It's way deeper than Doom was.
Yeah.
But I mean, not still not amazingly deep for a shooter, but still, it's fun. It's great. It's got a lot of action. It's got a lot of movement, a lot of weapon options. So yeah, it's definitely definitely more deeper gameplay than any of the Dooms.
Yeah.
Because there's 1 and 2 were very dated. 3 was kind of more of a
3 was like a strange horror
horror
game.
almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Is there a 4th? No, the 4th was cancelled.
is
The
there a
4th was
4th?
cancelled.
No, no, no.
It's kind of
Yeah,
a thing,
yeah,
like a myth, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 2016 really really brought it back. They really added so much more depth to it.
Insane graphics,
Um,
insane performance.
Great yeah. John Carmack knows how to program. Let me tell you,
Is that the head of id's
he's
name?
got to
Is
be
that
one
that
of
guy's name?
he's the head
Yeah.
programmer. He made the original Doom,
Yes, that's
which
the guy.
for its time ran amazingly
Mm.
well, and like a lot of games just used the engine because it was so efficient. It just ran so well, and yeah, so Doom 2016 just ran like a dream. Like it ran so
Yeah,
well
I didn't
for
even
for
have
what it was showing.
a great PC at the time, but it was just like hundreds of frames per second.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it was
great.
it was amazing,
I
and,
loved it.
and the graphics looked great, and it felt good.
Yeah.
Playing that way. The weapons felt satisfying. The movement was great,
And then,
and like I expect, yeah, more of that from than the Dark
well,
Ages.
Doom Eternal. I
And
don't know. Did you play Doom Eternal?
I did play some of it. Yeah, not as much as
Yeah.
2016.
Well, Doom Eternal,
I need to
especially
finish that.
later in the game when you unlock all the abilities, becomes insanity. You turn into an Apache helicopter combined with an AC-130 gunship combined with fucking, I don't know, a nuclear missile. Like you just become God. Honestly, you
Yeah,
you get the
nice.
abilities to the grapple hook attached to the bottom of the shotgun, and also
Hmm.
the dashes and things to the point where you can fly pretty much constantly if you're good enough. If
Nice.
you have mastered the controls enough, and you can fly and you can learn the weapon combos to switch and keybind between the right weapons to just do like insane amounts of damage. The railgun and the rocket launcher and the sniper. So
Mm,
they describe that as being a fighter jet style of playstyle, but I think they kind of reached the peak of that kind of advanced movement, flying around fun. So they've done a 180 for Doom the Dark Ages, and they're describing that as Iron Tank gameplay style. And in the gameplay footage, that really shows because it looks like it's a complete 180 in an interesting way to the point where I think it's going to feel like a different game. It's going to feel really cool because I think you can jump, but it's not encouraged. The jump looks kind of slow and bad, but you're mainly just sliding
mhm,
around. You're using heavy guns, like you
yeah.
have a shield, and you're meleeing people. You're doing your glory kills. They have a new glory kill system where you can aim for certain body
Mm.
parts. It looks cool as fuck.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah.
and
That's what kind of annoyed me about the glory. It's like a lot of the times it's just the same animation over and over, and
yeah,
it's
they're
like,
changing the
ah,
glory kills to
yeah, that's good.
you can customize your glory kill, which is
Hmm.
really cool. And yeah, you there's not as much flying. You're on the ground. You're dodging projectiles most of the time. And as melee enemies are like, I don't know, things just look a little bit closer and a bit more personal and
Hmm.
intense for a different reason than Doom Eternal was intense. So rather than just like enemy spam and flying around and things moving 100 mile an hour, instead it's slower but more intentional, deliberate, melee
Mm.
focused, heavy weapons, impactful. It looks great. And I wasn't even excited for Doom 3 until I saw that trailer, and now I'm excited because I think it looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. They went in a different
Yeah.
direction because one of the things about Doom Eternal was that I didn't get as much into 2016 is it felt very close to 2016 enough that like it didn't feel fresh. It felt kind of like a DLC or
Especially
something,
towards the
like
beginning. I think you get most of the cool stuff later in the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I didn't get. I think I'm probably stuck in the beginning. I don't think I got more than a couple hours in
Yeah.
it, and it was just like it didn't feel different enough, so it didn't spark
Yeah.
me. Maybe I'll get a second
You definitely
try,
should
knowing
because
that it gives.
after you get all the abilities, it's honestly one of the most fun things I've ever played. It's crazy.
All right, that's good to
Should give
know.
that another go, especially before the next one comes
Yeah,
out.
but there's no multiplayer in Dark Ages. Is that right?
Yeah, so they've tried to so Doom 2016 had an actual like 5v5, maybe it was 4v4 PvP,
Mm,
and I
yeah,
think everyone just hated it. Maybe obviously there was the hardcore people who would like, they stick to it and they played it, and some people had a good time, obviously, but I
yeah.
think it was just slop, kind of. I think it was just trying to be like, like Call of Duty, like a Halo multiplayer. And they just
Mm,
kind of threw it in there out of, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, they felt obliged to have to include a PvP multiplayer is what I'm looking for. And then
yeah,
in Doom
yeah.
Eternal, they took a different approach, which is just it was kind of smart. It sounds like it's a smart idea. So they went with this idea where one person or maybe more than one person plays as the monster. Like you play as a big enemy from the Doom campaign,
Hmm.
and the other people play as a Slayer, and they have to take you down. And that was a cool idea, but still, no one
Mm,
played it. No one played it anyway because, as they said when they announced that Doom: The Dark Ages will have no multiplayer, people just aren't coming to the franchise on multiplayer. Like they're not. They're not played. People don't play them. People don't really
mm.
care. So Doom: The Dark Ages is not even going to bother including one, which I think is probably for the better because if anything, it means that they'll spend more time on the single player.
Yeah, I mean, it feels weird because, like I said, Doom was one of the first games I played
Yeah,
multiplayer. You know, and but it's understandable that often multiplayer is you as you play in single player, but now other people are there.
yeah,
And the thing is, when you design a system around the single player experience, you also have to you either have to take into consideration how this would play in multiplayer, or you have to change multiplayer enough that it would be more viable. You know, so I could see how if they're trying to make mobility and power scaling and all this stuff, and then you put it in multiplayer, and sometimes it just doesn't work in multiplayer.
yeah.
And I understand that, and that allows them to focus more on the single player without worrying about, oh, people would be mad if we don't put this in multiplayer, even though it'd be completely broken if we did. But it's so cool when you use it.
That's the main
Like
thing.
so.
And I feel like this kind of shows that they might be different as a development team because any AAA studio would feel the obligation. So the fact that they are
Hmm.
able to get past the obligation shows me that they genuinely care about making the single player as good as it can be. I think that's a really good sign
Yeah.
that they have
Hmm.
the they have the consciousness and the care to make that decision. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
they know it's not
They
worth
know
it.
it's not worth
So
it. They know where their priorities are, I
yeah,
guess.
it's understandable. Yeah, yeah, and it's just going to let them focus more on the single player experience. So that's fine. I mean, there's so many great multiplayer games now, especially in the shooter category that they know they'd really have to put something new to kind of even have a chance to
Literally.
make it worthwhile.
Yeah. There's no
So
point.
just you got something good going with the single player. Just keep it going. So I understand how they're
Just bring
going.
it home.
So I
Just bring the
appreciate
single
it.
player
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the
Hmm.
obligation. Don't worry about the pressure. Don't worry about catching the
Hmm.
audience. Don't worry about keeping your player bases. All these things that companies are caught up on. But then every now and then you get the game like Helldivers, which is just, when you get past those obligations, when you get past that need to just always be pleasing people and always
Hmm.
include all the market trends, when you get past that, you'll eventually make a fantastic game.
Yeah. Mm, I agree. Yeah, I can't wait to see it, especially with how different they're going to change the gameplay, which is great because what I loved about 2016 was just how new it felt, but how they kept to
Felt like
the
Doom.
vibe.
Felt like Doom.
The very gritty, gutsy, violent, the literal doom slayer, they
Yeah.
really leaned into it. And it's
Yeah.
great. And the fact that they're taking that just from a different angle, and they're going into the whole medieval, kind of more melee focused kind
Yeah.
of, I, I'd really like to see where they go. And it's really great that
Yeah,
they're doing this. So,
they've like dabbled in some medieval stuff, especially in Doom Eternal, but in 2016 as well. And I guess they really
mhm,
like it. I don't know if I don't know, maybe the art team or whoever really likes making the medieval looking stuff because they just thought, fuck it, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make it a whole game. Literally, they were like, there's a scene in
mm.
the trailer where Doomslayer is riding a fucking dragon with red wings.
Nice.
And I love it
Yeah.
because that is
Like,
the definition of just letting your creativity flow. They did it, they tried it, they liked it, and now they're full sending it. I love it. It's fantastic.
yeah, I felt like the Doom 2016 kind of leaned into more like
Yeah.
futuristic
2016
kind
was
of
like,
kind of weapons and stuff
yeah,
like that. And then like now they're going in reverse.
yeah,
Like, oh, like Like, let's be more basic. Let's be more primal.
Yeah.
Like, people are gonna, and yeah, it looks cool. I got it.
And it is a
It looks
prequel
pretty
for
awesome.
I don't think I even I
Oh,
don't even
really?
follow the story. I don't
Yeah.
remember what happens in either of the
No.
stories.
It's Doom. The
It's
story
Doom.
is irrelevant.
But for anyone,
it's Doom.
for anyone who is keeping up with that, it is a prequel. But like how far a prequel or what that means, I have no idea. But it is a prequel, and I guess that's how we're getting into the how we're gonna push more, how we're gonna justify pushing more into the dragons and the swords and the shields and shit. Cool as fuck. Really excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
I got one last thing to talk about: Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it's kind of funny how much I think about this game. When one, I don't like Assassin's Creed. I don't like modern Assassin's Creed. Two, it isn't out until March, but this game lives in my head rent free because first it sounded really cool, and now it sounds really bad. But I think this mainly stems from the fact that, like, going way back, people, me included, have been asking for like a Japanese Assassin's Creed since the inception of the series.
Oh yeah. Yep. I wasn't even a big Assassin's Creed fan. I'm like, dude, why haven't they done Japan yet? Like, it's the country of the ninja, dude. Like, that's such a no. Like, they went to like what was it?
They've done Greece,
early colonist America. Yes. Like I don't know what you call that.
Which game that was.
That was like such a weird, like, what, and then I remember Egypt was another big one too.
That was Origins.
They didn't tackle for a while.
Origins.
Yeah. They took forever to do that one.
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of weird choices. But yeah, they're finally doing it, and then they're fumbling it. Is that how it feels?
That's how it looks, but I mean, I guess we don't know until we play it in March. But so the reason I'm bringing this up now is because over the last like few days or so, there was a lot of people who got flew out to play it early. I don't know if flew out to play it. I don't know if they were flown out to play it early or if somehow they played it early or whatever. There's new gameplay out.
Yeah.
And the gameplay that came out in like the gameplay trailers like a month ago or a few weeks ago, I think looked like okay, or maybe gave me a little bit of hope, but still caused some worry for some reasons because it looked like they were still clearly sticking with the modern game, with the modern combat, which the modern combat is basically a much more spammy, like enemies with health bars and armor and shit. Whereas it used to be like, you'd parry people and kill them. And I really prefer it because I really miss the old Assassin's Creed combat because it was so fast and it was so brutal. And you could just go around killing people all the time. And I used to just go around and jump on groups of people and kill them all constantly. It was so fun. But
they split it up now. Now there's the stealth character and the fighting character. Is that how it is?
Yes, but this kind of that basically what you just said. Yeah, but this causes from what I'm hearing from early gameplay and from what I'm seeing in the videos as well, is this just causes some tedium from the looks of it, because the way it works is the combat guy is like kind of slow and lumbering, at least in terms of movement, and the unique thing that he can do is that he can barge through doors and barge through some concrete bollards, which is like, Jesus, is this, are we doing, like,
wow,
what's he
floor accurate, I guess.
What's he made of? But yeah, his whole thing is that he's insanely strong. And
wait, did ancient Japan have concrete?
I don't mean concrete, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Stone.
Oh, okay.
And
gotcha. Okay.
And then you play as this Japanese woman who, in my opinion, should probably be the sole protagonist because she is like a ninja. She's a hooded ninja, and she's cool as fuck. And she is the character who is focusing on assassinating and climbing. The result of this, though, is that you'll be playing as the guy, and you'll want to climb a tower, and the guy will be like, my friend would be perfect for this scenario. And you'll get a prompt on the screen, and it'll be like, hold to change to this character, and then you go into
how clunky.
Yeah, and then you go you go into a loading screen. You go into like the Animus.
No,
like the Animus loading screen.
Oh man, that's awful.
Yeah, and then you come in, and then you climb the tower, and then.
I mean, I'm not.
That's like
I didn't play much Assassin's Creed, but some of the big point is just how free flowing. Yeah. You can climb, you can jump off the building, you can engage in fight, and then you can jump off the roof and climb another building. Like there was just so much freedom of movement Like to throw a wrench into that seems such against what the series stands for. That's such a weird
The thing
direction.
is, when it comes out in March and we play it, well, I probably won't play it. I'm not gonna lie, but when people play it, it might
Hmm.
turn out that it's not as bad as it sounds. But just
Hmm.
think of it from the perspective of making the game. People have been asking for the Japanese Assassin's Creed game for like 20 years.
Yeah,
So why did we decide to now include a feature where we split the gameplay between two people? Because that obviously sounds like it. Like from anyone's perspective, that sounds like it's going to add complications and it's going to slow things down and it's going to be clunky and it's going to feel tedious. It just seems like a bizarre
yeah.
decision. It seems like a bizarre decision. I feel like they wanted the best of both worlds out of the characters, maybe.
I guess it's. I think you're right. It's just a very weird direction to take, considering
The setting.
the series. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like just the fact that they even went with a samurai when Assassin's Creed is almost like, hey man, it's the ninjas
The
who
ninjas.
assassinate. Like why even getting like I get that there's combat at all, in an assassin game, but the fact that you'd lean so much into it as to put like an infantry soldier,
Mm-hmm.
like in of all places Japan, which has, like you said, the whole ninja
The
trope,
birthplace of the ninja.
or the birthplace of the ninja. Um, it doesn't make sense to me. It's like they tried to shoehorn in. They just really wanted to have a playable samurai
Yeah.
in there
I
so
think
hard that they
I
just.
think that's exactly it. I think they saw that they were doing Japan and they really wanted to have a
Mhm.
playable samurai in there. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
half the staff was like, "Finally, we get to do a ninja." And the other staff was like, "Oh, but we really like samurai." And
And
it's
they
like,
did that high school
why
thing.
not do
They did that high
both?
school thing where they're
Yeah.
like, "Okay, you guys go over here and we'll do the guy. You guys go over
Uh
here and
huh.
we'll do the
Uh
ninja."
huh.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
probably
and
is
then we'll just
genuinely
we'll
it.
just make it work somehow. Yeah, we'll work about putting them both in at the end. We'll do something. We'll figure it out. Whatever. And yeah, I'm kind of curious how it turns out.
Still, look,
Because like.
I'm not gonna judge a book by its cover. I'm not gonna say that it's
Hmm.
gonna be shit and it's gonna be terrible. I'd be
Hmm.
lying if I said I'm excited. I'd be lying if I said that those early gameplay previews were impressive because they just weren't really
Hmm.
impressive on any level. It looks like like everything in the gameplay previews looks like something that's done better in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, yeah. When you have games like Ghosts of Tsushima that come out,
Yeah.
I mean, you really got to up your game. I was saying the same thing of what was the Capcom samurai game that came out? It kind of used the Resident Evil engine at first.
Oof.
Oh, Onimusha? Was that
I
it?
don't know.
The one where you're fighting demons and stuff. That's apparently going to have a sequel coming out
Oh
soon.
really? I know what
And
game you're talking
yeah,
about. I just I can't get the name to my head. Is it? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I know which game you're talking about. That's getting a sequel. I actually
yeah,
that game only came on my radar recently anyway. So that's interesting.
yeah. So and and they kind of created the whole evil, dark, ancient Japan demon slayer kind of thing with the first Onimusha, and then Ghost of
It
Tsushima
is
comes
only
out,
Musha. I
and
just checked.
okay, and it kind of has a similar, especially in multiplayer, the multiplayer mode where you're actually fighting demons and stuff. I don't know, maybe you do that late in the game. I haven't got that late in the game. I played a lot of the multiplayer with that though. That was fun. And so that's the bar now, like to come back and to kind of reclaim your crown, you have to get something at least as good as that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they can bring something good to that because as far as Assassin's Creed, I mean, um, Ubisoft, that's all I gotta say.
Are
They've
Ubisoft like on death's doorstep? Because I remember hearing like as of 2024 that they are like going bankrupt, but obviously that didn't happen. So
they've been doing pretty bad, I hear.
I can't even think of their
Yeah.
releases. I don't remember what games they've made.
Last I heard about it, they were making a lot of money from like some of their earlier games, and that's what was funding a lot of their more
Mhm.
modern releases. But now that their original OG games have started falling off, they're starting to run out of money to make the newer stuff or something like that.
Yeah.
But
X Defiant,
I don't
X
know.
Defiant
It's
was Ubisoft. That was a funny little thing that happened.
oh yeah,
They
it
closed
was.
that down.
Yeah, yeah. That's you can't recover much from
Still
that.
nowhere near as bad as
Unfortunately.
Concord, but it was a similar sort of situation. They tried to compete with Call of Duty, like the
Hmm.
$1 trillion franchise of Call of Duty.
Yeah, and it's a failure when they actually shut it
Yeah,
down and don't just oh we'll be putting out less content. They just literally shut it down. Like
yeah,
it was so unprecedented that Concord did something like that. That like a game that's just within weeks of release shuts
yeah.
down. I don't know if I've ever seen that
No,
before. It was just so fast, so complete. Like that's the worst a game has had to ever
it is.
had a release
It's
for.
Concord. The story of Concord is historic. It's
Yeah,
historic because I believe the game cost 400 million dollars,
something like
which
that.
is
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
AAA
And
numbers.
it took like 6
Seven,
or 8 years or
s-
something. 7 years.
7 years to
Okay.
develop.
Yeah, that's
It peaked at, I
wild.
think it peaked at
And
like
then
600 players on Steam.
yeah, yeah, absolutely insane that something like that would happen. But
Hilarious.
I mean, I really hope that they learned a lot from that because it's just
that was Sony,
sad,
right?
That was yeah, I think it was Sony.
They
Yep.
they have an episode in the Secret Level TV show for Concord.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That's which is just icing on the cake,
They were
really.
planning movies and TV series. They were planning an MCU. They were planning an MCU for Concord. The game got 600 players on Steam.
Man, that's rough. And then here we go. Here we are. Helldivers didn't even get an episode
Helldivers didn't
in
get
the
a fucking
series.
episode. Is it confirmed to get an episode at any
Yeah,
point?
they had
A cameo?
a cameo. Yeah, for like 30 seconds,
Because I
something
know
like
they're
that.
doing
Which
a
is
season 2. Because
yeah,
because a lot of the stuff from the trailer wasn't
but
included in
yeah,
season 1, such as Ghost of Tsushima.
but then news says we're getting a Helldivers 2 movie. So
We are getting a Helldivers 2 movie.
I
We are getting a
I'd
Helldivers 2
take that over an episode any day. But
any day.
as far as games to movies go, on one hand, they've had a terrible, terrible track record,
They're on a bit of a comeback.
just in general. But lately, I mean, with the Mario movie and with how well the Sonic movie is
Sonic
doing,
3 was
I
apparently great.
mean, they could be onto something,
Yeah.
Um, I just hope it's oh kitty. I just hope it's at least watchable, and it doesn't make me embarrassed for the series. But there's so many ways they can go
You
with it,
can't
and
you can't get like even if it's like bad,
mhm,
it could still you you can't mess it up. It just has to be somewhat entertaining, even if it's just a montage of just
mhm,
insane battlefronts, illuminate automatons, terminids, just gore, and just like
yeah,
just like a montage of last stands, heroic sacrifices, just shit going down. Just at least just do that. At least include those things, and we'll have a cool movie.
yeah. I feel like no matter what comes out, it'll be the subject of memes, and you'll see
Yeah,
clips everywhere about it and stuff like that. But
just don't cast Chris
what I'm
Pratt.
mulling over,
Don't cast Chris Pratt.
yes, please. Oh man, don't have like Zendaya as the main character or
Eagle One.
something. Like, please don't. What's that? Like, I hate when they just shoehorn actors into movies like that. But here's what I'm mulling my brain over is because like Mario movie. Well, Mario had it wasn't very much story, but it was a story. It was like Mario goes to save the princess. There's a lot of different takes on a lot of different enemies and stuff, and like Sonic, he has to they got a bit more creative with it, but there was still a lot of lore with Sonic. I have no idea what it was, but they had like a comic series. They had a bunch of TV shows, and a lot of the games went with story or something. So I've heard. I
Yeah.
haven't played much after the Genesis ones, but there is story. But the thing with Helldivers is like, there is a kind of an overall narrative. They're fighting the Terminators, but like there isn't really like a specific storyline of anything. It's just very a generic
Yeah.
war.
Well,
We're fighting Terminids here for this reason. Like so how are they gonna push that? And I feel like I know they're gonna have some main characters who we're gonna get to know, and they're gonna go on this like it kind of gives them. It's kind of like the Minecraft movie, like Minecraft didn't really have a story, and so what are they gonna do? It's like, well, wherever the fuck
whatever
they
the
want,
fuck they want, it's gonna
some
be some bullshit.
and so yeah, so I hope it doesn't end up like that where
Well,
because
I do think it's a little bit different because you are right, but I do think there's enough there to get a story out of because I'm
yeah,
not big into the Helldivers lore, but I know there is some.
hmm
And I'm pretty sure the way it
okay,
works is just that the Terminids are basically in a perpetual war so that you can use their bodies as biofuel. I think that's the Terminid situation.
yeah,
The
yeah.
automatons.
I know. There's some
Yeah,
generic
the
lore, but
automatons
like,
might be, I think, are like maybe exiled human AI. And
hmm
the only actual legitimate threat, I believe, is the Illuminate. So I think that could make for a pretty cool movie if maybe if the Illuminate come in at the end and there's a sequel, or like I don't know. I'm just thinking like there is potential to make stories out of
yeah,
this.
it just really depends because like I said, the whole game to movie pipeline. I
It's a sketchy
it's
one.
just
It's thin ice.
yeah, it's just my gut reaction is just to go, oh no, what are we gonna get from this? But it's all about the directors and the writers. Like you'd think you can't lose with Star Wars, but I mean, some people will hate me saying this, but look at the new trilogy. I mean, it's just all over the place. They don't line up. There's no,
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't feel the same vibe. Um, and then it's like the Lord of the Rings. It's been done, on a lot of different media, but Peter Jackson took a crack at it. Man, he knocked it out of the park. And this is some material that's been around for decades. And same with Dune. Doom had a previous movie. It had a series.
Yeah.
And like they just didn't take off. It was a really hard series to tackle because of how it's written. And then finally we got the new Doom movie, and they're amazing. Especially the
I have not
second one,
seen them, but
man.
I think
Oh, they're good. If you're a sci-fi nerd like
I
me,
certainly am. I
like
think I'm gonna have to give
yeah,
that a
I
try.
yes,
Also,
yes. And
sorry.
know that the first one isn't as good as the
Oh
second
really?
one. Yeah, yeah. I think the first one builds up. It's like the book. The first These two movies are both the first book. And when I read the first Dune book, I got about halfway in, and I was like, I'm not feeling this. And I put it down. And like a couple months later, I'm like, I should finish this just to say I read it.
Yeah.
And I finished it. I'm like, okay, the first half of the book sets up the second half of the book, and like it's completely different, and it was worth it.
Yeah.
So I think the movie's the same thing. Even if you don't like the first movie, go through it, and then the second movie you'll be like, I'm glad I won.
Have you seen the Dune
But I just
game?
had to put that out there.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
game? No, I mean I've seen clips of it,
I'm
but
blanking on the name right now. It's a survival game.
right,
And it
yeah,
looks
yeah,
I think there was an early play event recently and it looks cool. Again, it looks cool as fuck, but I mean, it looks like it's very early in development, like it's quite unfinished,
yeah.
but it like making a survival game is such a strange genre to make it kind of a bit like a big game. Um I'm sorry, a big
It
franchise into,
does.
but I think it really
It
works.
does, yeah. But
Yeah.
but considering the
What's that?
Dune universe, and like especially the planet it starts on, Arrakis, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, we'll see where it takes it, because I think the company who worked on was the company who worked on Conan Exiles,
It is, yeah.
which is another survival crafting game that's been pretty
Yeah.
popular. So they're familiar with
It's called
the
Dune Awakening.
with the concept and the genre. Oh
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I hope it does great because man, the Doom universe, there's a lot there.
Yeah, there was some early gameplay and it looks really cool. You can it's got got a lot of base building. You can build your own vehicles. You can fly
Yeah,
the cool helicopter firefly things, whatever they are. Those look cool.
yeah, yeah. The chopters,
Something like that. Yeah,
where God, what is that? What they call them?
they have a name. I think it's they're called like an ornithopter or something.
Ornithopters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's all my topics exhausted. How are you feeling?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, covered some good stuff.
As we said that wasn't even intentional. We just hit an hour 30. So how do you feel about calling it there? I think that's pretty good.
All right, sounds good. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing this with me. Really appreciate it. It's nice speaking to you.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. Take care.
Until next time.